Hello and welcome to another episode of the Fill Up Podcast. My name is Richard Haynes, your host, and today I'm really excited to have with us today Dan McQueen. But before I introduce Dan and to all of you live, I want to read his bio because it's powerful. He has quite an amazing story, and we'll hear some of that as we go. So, at the age of 28, Dan was leading a healthy, active life. And then after an optometrist appointment to identify the cause of his persistent headaches that was cut short, he was handed a sealed envelope and told to go directly to the hospital. What followed was emergency brain surgery. And on June 21st, 2014, Dan's reality was shattered by a devastating brain hemorrhage. With no map to guide him on the grueling path to recovery, Dan had to rely on his grit, perseverance, and resilience to relearn everything he once knew: how to walk, talk, and even smile. Dan has survived 2 emergency brain surgeries, weeks in a coma, and months of rehab in a hospital. What he found all out along the way might surprise you. There's nothing like a brain injury to refocus the mind. Driven by a positive mindset, Dan battled through excruciating rehab exercises to rebuild his life and return to a job he loved. He's grateful for the doctors who saved him and the friends and family who supported him. Now he wants to pay it forward. The tools Dan used to build back his life can be used by anyone facing challenges. He'll reveal strategies to help you or your team be #better than yesterday and achieve your goals one step at a time. His action-oriented life hacks will help you to tackle anything you face. Welcome, Dan McQueen. So grateful
Thank you,
to have you.
Richard. Appreciate you having me on the show, man.
Yeah, no, this is amazing. I'm super excited. I'm super excited for the audience, people who are listening to this as well, just to hear a little bit about your story. So why don't I let you take it from there? Because that's a pretty rousing bio that I just read, and I'm sure it's piqued a lot of interest.
Sure. So my story takes place back in 2014, as you alluded to by the bio. Working in tech, worked for a company called Hootsuite, social media management platform, post-sale, clients on the platform. I just got this new promotion at work and was loving life, living this rock star tech lifestyle in London. Big nights out. We had a keg at the office on a Friday night. When that dried out, we spilled it to the pubs and caused some carnage there. Night bus back home at like 3, 4 in the morning. It was awesome. It was fun. It was fast and loose. It was my best life. And I started getting these headaches. And they kind of, they were pretty debilitating. Painkillers like candy for them. Head was pounding, like it was excruciatingly painful. So I'm on the tube one day. The tube takes zigzag around London, lumbering towards Notting Hill Gate tube station on the District line. Headaches were so bad, vision turned starry and I saw spots. The slow started to fade to black. It was a race to see who could arrive at the station first, me or the blindness. Arriving at Notting Hill Gate tube station, stepped on the platform, mind the gap, and the lights. No, I couldn't see a thing. So, Richard, I want to ask you, able-sighted guy your whole life, all of a sudden you're thrust into the depths of blindness on a tube station in London. How would you think? How would you feel? What would you do?
Man, I'd be so disoriented. I don't even know if I would know what to do with it. So, yeah. What did you do?
I did absolutely nothing. I stood there and I froze like a statue. The stale air of the station stole my nostril. The station swirling around me. I'm thinking, how the hell am I going to get out of this pickle? After the longest 3 minutes of my life, my vision came back and I carried on my day. But the next day I went strolling back into A&E. A&E is accident emergency in the UK, like ER in Canada States. What's going on here? I was blind on a tube station in London. This is not normal. What's happening here? They ran some more tests and again, they thought it was vertigo. They sent me home. On the way out, they told me I could always get my eyes checked by an optometrist. Kind of odd, I thought, but I'm not a doctor. I don't plan to play one now. Next day, the headaches came back with a vengeance, and I found myself in Miss Patel's chair. He was midway through the routine exam when he stops the exam, excuses himself from the room, and he comes back a few minutes later with a sealed envelope which he hands me. He told me to go directly to Moorfields Hospital, which I did. Well, Richard, I stopped at home first to grab a Jack Reacher book by Lee Child, a phone charger, and a bite to eat. Then I arrived at Moorfields Hospital, handed the envelope. They ran the same test there again. Then escalated up to Charing Cross Hospital. We're getting somewhere. I'm thinking, this is positive. This is a good thing. Now, it turns out, Richard, I had a dangerous blood pressure in my brain caused from a non-cancerous cyst in my pineal gland. This prevented the fluid from my brain to drain as it normally would, causing the pressure to build up, causing the headaches, causing the vision issues. Turns out I require emergency brain surgery tomorrow. Now, it turns out my world's about to change altogether. After a frantic back and forth with folks in Canada, last text message my mom received reads, "I'll see you soon, Mom. Think I'll have a new haircut next time I see you. Love, Dad." Mom's in the air flying to London on June 21st, 2014 on the operating table. Something goes horribly wrong. I have a massive bleed in the brain, a brain hemorrhage. I think the cyst burst when they operated. Mom lands and finds I'm in critical condition. I was in a coma for 4 weeks, but was in and out of consciousness for months after this. Things are pretty dicey, touch and go. That's kind of where my story kicks off, Richard, and it was 0 to 60 in an instant. One day, healthy, active guy. The next day, 4 weeks later, I woke up from the coma. Mom, dad, and brother around the bed. I'm trying to talk, but I can't talk. Vocal cords are fried from the tracheotomy, and I go, point at my brother, I go, "You, give me a pen and paper." Run the pen and paper, I go, "Get me out of here." I show it to Cal, and I go, "You, make this happen. Get me out of this spot." One eye's wonky as hell. I couldn't walk. My leg had atrophied in the coma. Hooked up to tubes and hoses. He's like, "What do you want me to do, dude? You can't go anywhere right now." My first initial thought was, this looks expensive. Let's get out of here. This is not good. This is not a place I want to be. Let's get out of Dodge. Luckily, he did not heed my advice, and I remained in the hospital for months after this. And it was slowly coming to grips with what had happened to me. Being told, "Hey, Dan, you had a brain hemorrhage. You're in a coma. You can't walk. You can't talk. You can't." They didn't tell me I couldn't smile, but I looked in the mirror, and it was pretty bad grimace for a couple of years there. But it went 0 to 60 pretty quickly, and it was a stark reminder of how fleeting this life can be.
So Dan, I just want to go back to that scene in the hospital room when you woke up and you asked for the pen and paper and wrote. It was your brother that you wrote it to?
Yeah.
What was that? What was that like for him? Have you had a conversation about that since?
Yeah. It's like, "What do you want me to do, man? Like, you're in a hospital, you can't move." I was just like, "Let's break me out of here. Let's get out of here right now."
Yeah.
And he's just like, "No, we're not going anywhere." And I
And
couldn't
then,
talk, right? So it was like I'm
yeah.
drinking over, like, writing these messages on a notebook. It was pretty slow.
And then from your end, here's your brother that you trust, right? Get it done kind of guy. And he's not willing to take you out of the hospital too. You're probably a little disoriented.
Yeah,
That
well,
must have
it's
been
like
a
the
quite
folks
the,
aren't gonna break me out. It's gonna be the brother that breaks me out. It's not gonna be the parent. They're very stickler with the medical stuff, and I was like, "No, you get me out of here right now. Get me out of here."
yeah. And now, of course, like you said, thankfully you didn't do that because you needed to be there for your recovery.
For
And
sure.
yeah, moving on. Wow, I can just imagine some of those other family dynamics that happened along the way as well as you began your road to recovery. That must have been heart-wrenching for them and also for you as you went through it.
Yeah, I mean, like, my mom went on the airplane. I was going to surgery, and then while she was in the air, I had a brain hemorrhage, and I was put in a medically induced coma. So she arrived not knowing what had happened, and my dad called her and let her know. And she arrived at the hospital to find me on the coma clinging to life. And they straight up told her, like, "Look, this he may not make it out of this. Like, he's not looking good right now."
Hmm.
And she just got dropped in the deep end.
And you were in a coma for a month? Is that right?
4 weeks, yeah.
4 weeks? Yeah. Did your parents and your family sit close by at that time? Like they were there and
They stayed in London for a couple of years after this injury. Like, they were there supporting me 100%,
yeah.
visiting me every day. So the daytime in the hospital was, very cheerful. Everyone's like, "Oh, Dan, you're doing so well. This is amazing. You're recovering so well." But in the nighttime, all the family goes away. The doctors go away. The night staff comes on board, and everyone gets put in the same room for bed. And the wails of the patients is just still haunts me today. It took me a few nights to get used to this, to be able to sleep, because their life has just been upended. Their life's been shattered by this, right?
Mhm.
And they're trying to navigate this change in a way that's positive and helpful. But the wails were so pronounced, it took me a while to get used to this and be able to sleep.
And you're also dealing with that as well, right? You're like living your best life at 28, a great career with Hootsuite and having just a ton of fun in London, and then all of a sudden, bam, right? And so what was that like to have all of that stripped away in a matter of a day or two, or however long that took between blacking out on the tube and seeing before you got to the surgery.
Well, pretty bloody humbling.
Yeah.
You don't really realize how, healthy, active guy, no medical issues before this. And I wake up 4 weeks later after being in a medically induced coma, being told this is what happened to you. I was being fed by intravenous fluids. And in the coma, I would rip it out because I didn't like it in my nose. And I rip it out like 2 times, 3 times. They put mitts in my hand. So I couldn't rip it out anymore.
Hmm.
And I'd work on these mitts for days, getting the hands free. And then I'd rip out this tube. And every time I would do that, they'd have to put it down again. They'd x-ray me to make sure it was in my stomach, not my lungs. So I lost probably 30 pounds, 40 pounds. And it was like just a dire situation. Like initially in the coma, they had to keep my core temperature down below 40 degrees, otherwise I'd be brain damaged. So there's ice blankets above and below me to keep my core temperature down. This led to violent shivering. Family says it's horrible to watch. Hooked up to 13 tubes and hosed them on various things in medicine. Like it was in dire straits, and my parents were told I may not make this. But then I woke up from that coma, and then came time. The next hurdle was how to walk or how to talk. Right? I
Hmm.
couldn't talk in the first few weeks. I told my parents he may not be a talker again. His woke words are fried. He may not be a talker again. I had a nurse, a Kiwi nurse, that was my lead nurse in the hospital. She wrote this little dossier on me. My parents built this dossier like who Dan is. He's a sportsman. He's a world traveler, a master's graduate. He has a life outside of this hospital. She read my file. She goes, "Oh, he's a sportsman. I'll get him talking again. Take me down to the park, Richard. There's these kids playing football, soccer across the park." She goes, "Those kids across the park, they don't think you're good enough to talk, Dan. They don't think you're good enough to talk." And I found out pretty quickly that's a trigger for me. And they yelled across the park some profanities to start a new team today. But like, this to say, that's a motivating factor for me. Proving you wrong is huge. I'm not going to talk, hey man, jog on. But like, that was a bold call on her part, but it worked tremendously. That competitive fire inside me ignited. And I was just like, I'm not going to talk. Like, hey, watch me talk. I'm talking right now. And it was just like instant motivation, and the vats of proving you wrong was a big part of my vibe. Now, in order to walk, I had to wear a splint over my left leg. Splints like a cast over your leg to gently tease the leg muscle back into shape. Leg had atrophied in the coma, so it was not viable. So they injected me with this Botox inject in the back of my leg with a samurai-sized sword needle. With Botox, it was painful as all hell. And the first night I wore the splint through the night, no issue, no stress. This will be easy. I thought this will be easy. Hinting it's not going to be easy, right, Richard?
So one second. I sorry to interrupt, but at this point, could you walk? Or I mean, could you
No,
talk? Could you
I
talk?
could
But
talk. I could talk at this stage, yeah.
how long did it take you after that nurse took you down and saw the youth playing in the park?
Oh, I was talking the next day.
Really?
And then my mom comes in, she goes, "Dan, how are you doing?" I go, I give her the thumbs up. She goes, "No, use your words, Dan." I go, "Oh, I should have never started talking."
Okay.
It was quite
Anyways,
an effort. It was quite an effort to speak, right? Like a lot of effort to speak and to share
yeah.
my message and to get the vocal cords working. But it was
And
a humbling experience.
and now is it just normal and natural for you? It's the same way as you always have, or do you have to use some different kinds of ways to get the sound to come out of your throat?
I mean, as far as I can tell, it's similar, but I speak fast now, as you can probably tell. I'm trying to slow that down with speech and language therapists. So it's like I was not talking for so long. I think I made up for that by speaking fast now.
Hmm.
And it's a very intentional practice to slow down my rate of speech and enunciate properly. But it's a work in progress, and it's I think as far as I can tell, the speaking is back to where it was, but maybe a bit quieter. It's more of an effort to speak loudly now. But it's yeah, luckily because I'm a speaker now, right? Which is pretty key to be able to speak. Otherwise, you're kind of hooped.
Yeah, no kidding. So sorry, we better get back to that samurai sword sized needle that injected Botox into your legs.
So the splint, yeah. So the splint was this
Yeah.
cast over your leg, right? The first night I wore the splint through the night, no issue, no stress. This will be easy. I thought this will be easy. And it's not going to be easy, right, Richard? The second night, after 20 minutes, it was painful. After 30 minutes, it was dreadful. After 40 minutes, it was unbearable. I buzzed the nurse on the clicker, the call button. Take the splint off my leg because I can't handle the pain. But I told them before we left the room, I'm like, tomorrow we're doing this for an hour. I'm a walker, I can handle the pain. Big talk, right? Third night, they wrap the leg, tie it off with the ankle. Give me the clicker, the nurse call button. They go for troll the Wilson ward. Now, the Wilson ward was an L shape, so short on this side, long on this side. Short on this side, long on this side. Even that hospital room that smells like only a hospital room can smell. Ties, sterilized. It's clean. But you're wondering what sort of atrocities have been committed to the guys that lemony zestness. After 10 minutes, the leg's painful. After 20 minutes, the leg's dreadful. After 30 minutes, the leg's unbearable. Start passing the clicker back and forth, trying to distract myself from the pain. Now, Richard, I'm wearing the eye patch today to counter the double vision I've got, which is still apparent after the injury today, but I wasn't wearing the eye patch at this moment in time. So I'm groping at this clicker going back and forth. As the pain gets more pronounced, my throws get more enthusiastic. So eventually, inevitably, it crashes down on the hard linoleum floor 3.5 feet down the ground. Sugar, I say. I didn't say sugar, Richard. I look over the edge of the
No,
bed.
not sugar.
Not sugar. Adjectives with sugar, but definitely not sugar.
Yeah, okay.
Look over the edge of the bed. Clicker there is lying on the floor looking back at me. If I could that clicker, I can stop this pain. I can end this monstrosity. Only problem was the fall from that height might break my arm. In fact, I figured about a 50-50 chance to break my arm. Coin flip, not the best odds. I changed tack. I'm trying to untie this splint, but it's tied up at the ankle, not at the hip. I can't reach that far down. I'm not that flexible. Help! Help! I'm yelling. The ward the walls was an L shape, right? Short on this side, long on this side. Short on this side, long on this side. We're at the far end of the ward. They can't hear me out for help. I decided to flip the coin. Drop down and grab the clicker. Even if I break my arm, splint's gotta come on my leg. It's part number 1, 2, and 3. Lower myself up the edge of the bed. Crash down in absolute heat. Blankets, wires, cables, all go. The arm holds. And I hammer the clicker, expecting the nurses to come bursting into the room like the bats have been put up. They kind of stroll in 5 minutes later. What are you doing to float up? First of all, I say, that's a fantastic predictive accent they have there. Where do you say you're from again? Richard, I did not say that. I did not say that. Listen to this split off lights. It's not what happens to you, but how you respond to the matters, right? It's not what happens to you, but how you respond to the matters. The reason why I'm telling this story is I learned 3 lessons from this experience. The first lesson being, let's not pass the clicker back and forth. It's pretty evident one. Second one was let's have a splint up at the hip, not the ankle. That way we can untie this should this happen going forward. And the third and probably most profound lesson I learned was let's always be solutions oriented. This one forwards. When things go sideways in life, what sure is there more than they will. Focus on a solutions based approach. How do you resolve your issue? How do you fix your problem? It's a mindset I carried forward from this issue that helped me get walking again. The spin helped me get walking again. The Zimmer frame to the Ferrari to naked walks. Now, naked walk is a bit provocative term. I was walking without sporter aids, and when I told my friends I went for a naked walk, they go, "Dan, I don't think you're supposed to do that." But the reaction was so good, I kept the term up, right? Then came time to walk in Tooting Broadway, Richard. Well, Tooting Broadway is an area in South London, an area they call up and coming. Think loud sirens, drugs, gangs. It's dirty, it's hectic, and boy, is it busy. I'm walking with a cane, I'm walking with an eye patch. After 4 months in a wheelchair, I'm literally Bambi on ice. I turned the corner to walk on the high street for the first time. Immediately get slammed into by someone. Stagger back a few feet. Someone scurries past me on the right hand side. I thought I was done with the rats. Someone had been stabbed on the sidewalk over here. I'm thinking this is a pretty wild place to learn how to walk. After a few days, I was thinking this is the worst place to learn how to walk in the world. Can't they see I'm trying to walk here? Can't they see I'm trying here? And then one day my perspective shifted. Maybe this isn't the worst place to learn how to walk in the world. Maybe this is the best. If I can walk here, I can walk anywhere. The truth probably didn't change, right? I went from the worst to the best in my mind, and my mood reflected that. What are you looking at in your life you're convinced is the worst? Convinced is the absolute worst. Here it is. You can find a way to turn down the suck a little bit, shift that perspective a little bit. Mike Tyson famously said, everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth. Now, your punch may not be a brain hemorrhage, right? Facts. It'll be a job loss, a breakup, a diagnosis for you or a loved one. You will take that punch in the mouth, how you respond. I'm offering a compass, not a map, but a compass. It always points towards true north. There are things like mindset, perspective, and hacks. Hacks allow you and your team to bend yesterday, tomorrow. My name's Dan McQueen, and the reason why I told you that story about learning to walk and turn Broadway is when you change the way you look at the world's like it changes, and you don't need a brain hemorrhage to understand that. So I shared that story with you, Richard, to kind of give you an indication of how I've transferred my experience to like everyday failures or traumas, and how you can relate to my story and my perspective, even if you have not had a brain hemorrhage. Because that perspective shift, the worst or the best, made all the difference. Began to look forward to my walks. Bump into me, crash past me, good. If I can walk here, I can walk anywhere. You're making me better. I thrived off that competition, that grind, that prove you wrong vibe. And that fueled me, continues to fuel me today. I can do this. You're making me better. Thank you for the opportunity. But that subtle mindset shift, the worst and the best, that unlocked the world for me.
That's amazing. So how long did it take you to walk from the beginning of that first injection until you felt comfortable walking in London?
4 months.
4 months total. Okay.
I'm in a wheelchair, so think about this. Wheelchair took me 45 minutes to get into the first time. Next week, try to do 40. 40 minutes, full send, trying to get in a wheelchair. Every muscle in my body aching, tearing, groaning, screaming, crying. And I'm getting in the wheelchair 5 minutes faster. 5 minutes faster. 5 minutes faster.
Mm.
So I got into 5-10 minutes I can get in the wheelchair. 45 minutes initially to get in the wheelchair, and then ratcheted it up, man.
So it's like 1% better every day.
Exactly. It's just like
Yeah.
incremental improvements over time. They compound, and gotta have something to aim at initially, right? It's just like I can do 5 minutes faster. I can do 5 minutes faster. I can do 5 minutes faster. Small steps that just like compound over time allow me to get to the space where I get in the wheelchair much faster than I could in the past. It's a mindset to continue to take on board today. It's just like incremental improvements, right?
And Dan, how long did it take after that being bumped or somebody stabbed on the sidewalk in London, that experience where you're just like, this is the worst place to learn how to walk? How long did it take from that experience till the flip where you decided, and maybe you said this already and I missed it, but you decided, you know what, this actually might be the best play?
It wasn't overnight. It was probably a few days. I was so frustrated by this. Like, can't they see I'm trying to walk here? Can't they see I'm trying?
Yeah.
But then like that shift of like, well, if you're designing a place to learn how to walk in the world, wouldn't you make it challenging and difficult to make yourself better? Wouldn't that be a blessing for that to happen? And when that flipped in my mind, it's like, oh, this is the best place to learn how to walk in the world. Now, Trinity Broadway is not the hardest place to learn how to walk in the world. Let's get that straight. But it's not the easiest. And I was so frustrated by the lack of respect and like, can't they see I'm walking with an eye patch and a cane? Like, they can't see I'm walking here. And it was so frustrating to learn how to walk in this environment. But then, like, when that switch happened, it was like, no, this is the best. I get to do this here. What a blessing this is. And just made the walks less tiresome, less grueling, less difficult to navigate, right? It was just a perspective shift that unlocked the whole world for me.
So with that perspective shift, I'm guessing you probably started to apply it to other areas of your recovery and other areas of life. Is that right?
100%. Like, I perspective now is my superpower because I know, well, less so now than I did initially, but like what life was like before, how easy everything was before this. And I think it's taken away from you. It's like, I got to work a lot harder to get things going now,
Mhm.
but I get to do this. This is the odds of you being a human being, Richard, are 400 trillion to 1. 400 trillion to 1. That means you're more likely to win the lottery 10 times than you are in life in the first place.
Mm.
This blip is in my DNA, Richard. No matter what I did, it was going to come up eventually. And I can't wish it didn't happen because then I wouldn't be me. And I
Yeah.
wouldn't trade myself for the world, Richard, because I get to do this now every day. To struggle, to strive, to improve myself. But I'm only me because of this blip in my DNA and this because this hemorrhage happened. So get some perspective on what the odds of being a human being are in life. And like, how do you get down on it then? Like, sure, it's not fair, but like everyone's got something in life that's not fair. It's how you reframe it to make it serve you that is where the juice is made, where the juice is worth the squeeze, right? Like if you can reframe it, what are you gonna come up with now that I can't overcome? That I don't think I can overcome? And that mindset is bulletproof. I
Mhm.
don't think I'm not gonna fail because I'm not gonna stop. And know that hard work works. Like if I just keep incrementally racking things up, eventually I get to a point where like I'm so high up where I was before. Like it's inevitable I'll succeed.
Yeah.
And that's the mindset I carry forward with this, like, speaking now. It's like, it's harder than all hell to get going as a speaker, but, like, the message, the lessons, the hacks, the stories, it's all part and parcel for me of who I am. And I think the lessons are so valuable because you don't need to have this injury to, like, learn the lessons of experience. And I learn them through failure, trial and error, again and again and again. Like, I can just tell you what I've learned, and you can take that on board.
I love it. I love it. And so you where you're at now, and this is so that was 2014. We're 11 years later. 39-year-old Dan, right? Am I getting that right?
39 next month.
39 next month is much different than 28-year-old Dan was.
Oh, night and day. Life happened very easy for me before. Like, I worked hard, but I was kind of secretly working hard and stuff. But, like, I wanted to keep it look like it was cool.
Mm,
Now I'm caning it till the wheels fall off, and I don't care if you see me trying my backside off. I worried about stuff in life that was not important initially, like status, job, girls, like stuff that I thought would make me a person or like make me me. And now it's like, no, 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 I get to do this every day. And that perspective shift in my life and my demeanor and my vibe is like is gratitude really. Like I get to do this now. And when that switch happens in your life, what are you gonna come at me with that I can't overcome? Now this leads back to acceptance, which is a sticky word to mention because people don't like the word acceptance very much. You have to accept what happened to you. Oh, you don't know my story, Dad. You're right. I don't know your story. I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, acceptance is the most important thing you can navigate. To accept something, you can improve it. If you don't accept it, you're not taking steps forward. You're just wishing it was different. Hoping something is different is not an active way to resolve it. Acceptance, accept the new terms, accept the new parameters, accept the new game, and win that game. Once you agree to the game, you can improve it. If you don't agree to the game, you're just wishing woulda, coulda, shoulda, and no one likes the woulda, coulda, shoulda vibe, right?
yeah. Yeah, I like to use the term trust. I think it's very close to that, but not a trusting so much in other people. I mean, definitely that's a part of it, but just trusting that this is the path and that this is okay. And then I think that leads to the next step that you talked about of gratitude, being grateful for every day. I love that. So you shared a couple of things like that used to be important to you at 28-year-old Dan, and then you've shared a couple of things now that are important to you as 39-year-old Dan. What other principles or ways of life are really important to you right now?
Intention's very big for me.
Intention.
I've been
Yeah.
very intentional in my day, my demeanor, my, you know, life. Oh, wake up early, shower, meditate, exercise. Routine-based morning routine is very key for me to gear up for the day, to armor up for the day. But I don't do that not as good as I could be. My battery and my bandwidth is about 75% compared to what it was before this, right? I can't be frivolous with my bandwidth. I gotta maximize that bandwidth. So if I'm throwing it away for stuff that doesn't matter, I'm burning energy I don't have for stuff that's not important. So I really punted the rest. So stoicism is quite big for me right now, Richard, and that's distilled down most succinctly is control the controllables.
Mm.
In life, you
Mhm.
can control certain elements and other elements you can't control. Right now, I focus on what I can control and I punt the rest entirely, no questions asked. Can I control this? If yes, do something about it. If no, get it off my plate. And that's a simplified way to look at life, but it helps and serves me.
Have you noticed a theme about those things that you can control when you look at that? Because I mean, that's definitely something that you hear a lot, especially with high level athletes. Like I only focus on what I can control, and other people who, lack of a better term, become a little more self actualized in their lifetime. But have you noticed that? Is there a theme of those things that you can control versus what you used to think it was? I'm giving you a tough question there because
No, that's okay. That's a good question. I think you realize that like a lot of stuff is within your control. Like I'm responsible for me and my happiness and my safety and my vibe. If it's not directly related to that, I punt it immediately.
Hmm.
And I get very small with my focus of what I can control, what I can influence, and I focus on that because that's where the magic's done. That's where the incremental improvements occur. And if you focus on that, you can really make grand strides towards, your best self and your self-actualized self. But by worrying about someone says I'm mean or they don't think I can do this or global affairs and politics and stuff like this is out of my control. It's like, no, no. What's in your control? What can you influence and be better at than you were yesterday? and just get in there with that and excel in that. And that compounds after weeks, days, months, and years of doing this. Everything in my life was difficult after the injury, right? Like, would I've ratcheted this up after weeks, months, and years of work. And it improves, but like it takes time to improve.
Yeah. So I'm hearing a theme, like when you answer that question, you're going right back to some of those principles of intention, right? Number one, keeping that intention, and number two, keeping the way that you see the world in a supportive way for yourself. Because that's really when you're getting bumped with that cane and you're trying and you're like, come on, you guys, like, can't you see this is happening for me here? I'm doing this and you're
Yeah.
making it harder for me. And then you change that perspective to, actually, if they make it harder for me, or this is a harder place to learn, this is really good because I'll get better faster. And so just that perspective shift and showing up, like you said, that's what you can control, is
Exactly.
how
Like
you show up.
there's no point in worrying about stuff that's outside of your control, right? It's like, well, how's that going to serve you? How does that serve you to be like worried about what could be or what might be? It's like, no, what is? What can
Yeah.
I do about it that matters? And if I can't do anything about it, then I punt it immediately.
I like to call that the victim, kind of a victim mindset, right? Is woe is me. Why can't a little bit like, can't you guys see what I'm doing here? Like, come on. And when everybody else might be thinking the same thing, right? Can't they see that I've got to get to work fast? Can't they see that I've got to get to where I'm going?
That's a great call out there, Richard. And that victim mindset is so crippling for you to have because it like doesn't serve you.
It's seductive. It really is, like, to pull that and you're right, it doesn't serve you, but it's very seductive to go there, because if I'm a victim, maybe people will change their behavior so that I get what I want, right? I think that's part of the seduction of it, of wanting to pull you that way, but you actually don't get anything for it, because nobody really, the energy of someone who's that way, it's not very appealing or
Oh,
attractive.
it's revolting. Victims are never. I've never used the term victim in my life. Like it's happened. I wish it didn't happen. Sure, why not? But like it happened now. So like let's not worry about what could have been. What can I control? What's in my remit of control
Yeah.
now?
Yeah.
And to be a victim is I call this also like the pity spiral. And if you allow yourself to go down the pity spiral,
Yeah.
it just spirals on you and just spirals all the way to the bottom.
Yeah.
And you can't do anything when you're in that spiral. But if you can say, hey, let's level out here, let's get to the bottom and start climbing up, you can start making gains and start stacking wins and making this work for you and serve you. But victim, no, don't use that terminology with yourself or with others. Like, you get to do this. Like, I should have been dead a few times, to be quite frank with you, Richard. Like, they didn't, my parents, I may not make it out of the coma. I couldn't walk yet. I couldn't talk yet. But I'm here talking, I'm here walking, I'm here smiling. Don't let those assumptions or those preconceived notions of who you should be filter into your vibe. Like, I mean, I'm a walker, I'm a talker, I can do this. And just work at that relentlessly until you reach that goal. And eventually you'll hit that goal and then you make the new goal. Goal setting is so big for this because the goals, I always set my goals now because they're always reachable goals. I can't hit a goal, I just downstep the goal a little bit. Hit that goal, then reach the next goal. And you're just constantly ratcheting this up, right? You're stacking these wins and stacking these vibes. But yeah, victim mentality does not serve you at all.
Yeah. I think, that spiral you talked about, I think part of the reason why that happens is because being a victim, number one, it's a lie, right? None of us are victims. And so we need to reclaim that power that, like you did, when you said, this actually is really good for me. And you changed that mindset, changed that intention. And when you tell one lie as a victim of, I can't do it, the world is working against me instead of for me or whatever, we don't even think about the for me part, then it's really easy to tell the next one and the next one and the next one to spiral downwards. And so if anyone's listening to this, like, listen to Dan. I love your message. I love uh, the story and how that's not even a part of your being. Just stop it now and start looking at how things are happening for you.
Don't gaslight yourself. Like, it's not true. Like, it's just not true. Don't feed into your own BS and like think that, well, this isn't fair, this happening. It's like, it's not fair that it happened to you, but like now it's your responsibility to navigate this change. Everyone's got stuff in life that's not fair. The people that survive and thrive are the people that say, you know what, how does this serve me? How do I grow from
Yeah.
this?
Yeah.
My friend Keith, who's a speaker, says you can grow through it or go through it.
Yeah. The only
And
way
I like to
through is
choose like,
through.
yeah, the way out is through it. Always. It always is. Like the difficult conversation, the difficult job, the task is like once you do that, that's the way out. Don't avoid it. Go into it willingly. Don't wish it was easier. Make yourself stronger. Like just continually improve and fail again and again and again. I fail all the time, Richard. But now I'm starting to fail less and less because I've started to maximize my threshold and my reach. But through failure, you grow, you learn, you develop, you improve. So on this podcast a little while ago, a little off piece here, Richard, apologies. Gaming podcast. I'm not a big gamer, and I was on this podcast like, what am I going to talk about? He goes, like, I'm not a big Call of Duty fan or NHL or FIFA fan, but what did I play? I played Mario Kart 64. So life's like Mario Kart 64, let's say. You go around the mushroom circuit, hit the obstacle in the second left-hand turn, hit it once, cool. Hit it twice, not ideal. Hit it 3 times, dude, you know the obstacle's there, drive around it. Identify these patterns, understand that that's obstacles gonna be there every lap of the race. If you keep hitting the obstacle, like I can't help you, but if you know it's there, drive around it. And like you can fail again and again, but like you gotta learn eventually that like it's gonna be there. The patterns are consistent and they show up again and again. And just start stacking those wins.
I love that. Yeah. So is there a principle or something that we haven't talked about yet that's your favorite principle on self-development?
One that serves me quite a lot is one that I might have mentioned earlier is better than yesterday. Um, Everything in my life holds this ethos. I'm driving forward with this better than yesterday kind of vibe. Everything. This could be workouts. This could be swims. This could be interactions with girls, chatting with girls. Like that's one of the most frustrating things is just like my lack of a social filter and skill and emotional intelligence. It's more blunt now. I'm a bit more straightforward and a bit less savvy in navigating this. I used to be decent at that game, and now that's very blunt edges these days, and that's difficult to navigate. But it's like when you reframe it, it just serves you right. And failure is first attempt at learning. So my friend Riel says that, and that's a great reframe to like think about failure is like, well, you didn't do it right this time. But next time, just pivot a little bit, pivot a little bit. The third corner on that mushroom circuit, right? The obstacle's there every lap. Don't hit it every time. Try to avoid it if you can. You know it's there.
Yes, I have to admit, confess here that I have hit those on Mario Kart a few times as well. A few times in a row before I finally learned my lesson. But you're right. And I love that lesson. Just from a video game that you can pull that.
But the patterns repeat themselves, right? So like start seeing life through patterns and like, oh no, I've done this before and it failed. Pivot a little bit, fail again, pivot a little bit, fail again. Third time, it's like, oh, I made it through this time. So like now I know just go wide and I can avoid that obstacle. And then the next obstacle hits, and then you fail 3 times of that, and then go around that obstacle. Life's these patterns, life's these repeating things that like come up again and again and again. And you just gotta find your way through. You only fail if you stop trying. I say in my talks, try that's the most important bit. For recovered people, I used to give talks for my outpatient group at Wolfson Rehab Center. The best feedback I ever got was, Dan, after hearing your talk, I used to swim a lot before the brain injury, but after the brain injury, I stopped because it was so intensive and labor inducive. After hearing you talk about how important this is for your vibe, I'm going to try swimming again. Like, that is the juice, man. Like, I'm going to try again. But, like, only by stopping trying when you fail. If I keep going, I'm not going to fail. But if I say, you know what? You got me here. I can't make it through. That's a losing mentality. I'm not going to give that to you. Like, you can keep trying and keep failing and improving every time. And before you know it, you'll make it through around that corner fine without an issue.
I love it. So good. Dan, we're up against it right now, but we might have to do this again sometime. I've really enjoyed this conversation with you today. Is there any parting advice that you'd love to give our audience before we wrap this up today?
I think in life, you're going to get faced with obstacles. You're going to get faced with setbacks. You're going to get faced with unideal situations. But if you can come at it with a mentality of like better than yesterday, how can I improve this? And just don't stop. You won't fail. You won't fail forever. You're going to make it through one of these times. Just keep going, keep grinding, keep fighting. You get to do this.
Wise words. Thank you so much, Dan.
Pleasure, Richard. Thanks for having me on the show.